Earthlings, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to start with a story. I love storytelling and will often incorporate stories in order to make a point. So in the 16th century, in the early 16th century, which was the Renaissance time period, this was an absolutely brilliant time period of European art, culture, political and economic rebirth. Some of the greatest thinkers, greatest authors, scientists, and artists that we know well today thrived during this era. I love studying this time period and often get chills just thinking about the really remarkable advancement this era brought forth to humanity. Is truly incredible. One of the people this Renaissance time period birthed was Michelangelo. Now, most people today know very well who this man is without any further explanation needed, right? Michelangelo. So he was the famous Italian sculptor, painter, architect, and he was also a poet as well, which many people do not often associate him with being a poet, but he was. Michelangelo was commissioned to sculpt a statue of David. David's the biblical hero who defeated the giant Goliath in the Bible. So Michelangelo was commissioned to sculpt this statue of David, but he did something strange. He chose a massive block of marble that had been completely abandoned by other sculptors due to its imperfections. This marble that he chose was far from ideal. It had several flaws and irregularities. Michelangelo's approach to sculpting was actually quite unique. Instead of starting with a preconceived design and adding material, he believed that the true form of David was already present within the marble. It is said that Michelangelo worked tirelessly on this project. He chiseled away at the marble, meticulously carving out the excess of stone. He focused on the details, the curve of the muscles, the tension in David's body, the intensity in his eyes. Honestly, the process seemed quite grueling, but Michelangelo's vision drove him forward. He could literally see David emerging, being liberated from the marble that seemed to conceal him. When this statue was completed, people stood in absolute awe of it. Michelangelo was asked, how were you able to create something so breathtaking by hand from a discarded piece of marble? Michelangelo famously replied, I carved away all that was not David. I carved away all that was not David. From a broken, discarded piece of marble that had many flaws and irregularities emerged David. All Michelangelo had to do was carve away all that was not David. Sometimes greatness lies not in what we add, but what we uncover and set free. How can we carve away all that is not you, all that is not me, so we can uncover ourselves and be set free as well? That can be a grueling process like it was for Michelangelo. But that grueling process can birth a masterpiece like it did for Michelangelo. Michelangelo saw a vision. He saw David in the marble before David was set free. He was building a quantum bridge. I am an avid journaler. I have stacks of journals and notebooks all over the place. A couple years ago, I used up the journal I was working on and was searching for a blank one in the house I could use. I found a blank journal. It was mostly empty outside the first couple of pages. The first couple of pages in this journal dated back to 2013. Now, keep in mind, I did not get sober until January 2017. So these couple of pages were written 4 years before I got sober. The couple of pages in this journal from 2013 were dark, showing someone in the thralls of their addiction. It gave me chills just looking at it. But there was something important in there. There was a page that was building out the person who I wanted to be. I had lists of things that I wanted to see out of myself. I had things like pray and meditate every day. I had health goals of how I wanted to take care of my body to get into a better state of health. I had goals on the type of wife I wanted to be to my husband. Now, keep in mind, addiction made me spiritually sick. Praying and meditating every day was almost inconceivable. Addiction will also make you very unhealthy, often breaking down the entire organism of the body. So major health goals almost felt like an unattainable goal for me at the time. And there's just no way one can thrive as a partner in a marriage when they are addicted the way I was addicted. The relationship goals I stated in this journal entry were really at far reach from the version of myself who wrote them. But even in those dark moments, I had a vision of who I wanted to become. I could sometimes see her and feel her. I was building a quantum bridge. I was holding out my hand to the future me that already existed. I was creating her, which I can see so clearly from these journal entries. If you asked me then, I would have felt so far away from the woman I was attempting to envision. So far away. But something had me build that bridge. Something had me create that vision. The person I was seeking was also seeking me in this cosmic web of creation. If you read my journal entries during the process of getting sober leading up until today, so much of it is just me carving away all that is not Erica. And this is the crux of the work I do. This can be a long and sometimes painful process, but the result can be the emergence of a masterpiece, such as in the case with Michelangelo's David. To carve away all that is not us is not about trying to create something new, but we are rather trying to reveal, expose, or uncover what has always been there, the true essence of our being. As I moved through my life, I added all these layers on top of myself. There were so many layers from conditioning, fears, and false identities that I had cloaked over my true self. At one point, I had so many layers that I lost the frame of reference to who I was. Discovering this fact was also very alarming to me. The return to self process seemed daunting. But then I realized that this is the journey of life. As I mentioned in my third YouTube video titled To Thine Own Self Be True, we require a level of conditioning as earthlings in order to function in the world, but it is up to us to return back to ourselves if we so choose. If we can approach this return to self process with loving curiosity rather than overwhelm, the process can be quite enjoyable. Curiosity and patience were key for me when engaging in self-discovery and unfolding. This is a lifelong process that takes time. There are no shortcuts, I promise. I tried. Today we have an unlimited number of practices that we can lean on to help us with the task of uncovering who we are. Journaling was a huge asset for me and is something I engage in almost daily. For those who prefer to speak rather than write, there are audio journals out there. For those who prefer to type rather than write, there are digital journals you can use. If you aren't typically someone who journals but find it intriguing, try doing this with a friend. I have paired up with friends before and done 30 days of journaling where we touch base with one another daily, confirming we did our journaling for that day. It's accountability. This got me into the habit, and my journaling practice became much more regular. But don't force yourself to do something that doesn't resonate with you. If journaling does not resonate, then don't do that one. Maybe you like to read or listen to books on tape. There are many books out there that were very helpful in guiding me back to myself, even providing suggestive exercises. I actually put together a short list of suggested reading material along with some journal prompts for those who are interested, which are displayed on my website, holisticearthling.com. The book list was difficult for me to do as there are so many books, so many wonderful books out there, but I did select a handful that were particularly helpful to me for anyone who would like to check it out. I mentioned in other YouTube videos suggestions like the feeling wheel or expanding your emotional language and the I like that, I don't like that game. So check out previous episodes for more on those suggestions. Counseling was helpful to me for a period of time. I had a wonderful counselor in my first couple years of sobriety who offered me suggestive practices to uncover the self that I still do today. We know that there are many other practices out there one can engage in for self-discovery. Even practices like contemplative prayer and meditation can help with this process, but I also did really simple random things as well that take little effort. Have you ever heard the term, if nothing changes, nothing changes? See if you can change something within your daily routine. For example, I got into the routine of the types of grocery stores I would go to, what I would purchase, and typically certain days that I would do grocery shopping. One day I decided to mix it up. I went to grocery stores that I typically never go to. I would buy something different that was outside of my standard items. Sometimes to change something big can be overwhelming. See if you can change something less intimidating. Brush your teeth with your left hand instead of your right, if you're right-handed. If you work from home, maybe set up your workday in a different room. Do you always take a certain route to a certain destination, or could you mix it up for that one day? Doing a process like this does a little shaking up of our routine and can spark us to be further open to engage in other changes. It gets the process going. If we can get into a curious and excited mindset, this carving away all that is not us process can be quite enjoyable. Knowing ourselves on a deeper level will help us live more comfortably. The less I knew myself, the more layers I had draped over me, the harder this earth school plane of existence was for me. Enjoy getting to know yourself. Start the process, whatever that looks like for you. If this channel resonates, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so we can engage together. Until next time, to thine own self be true.